Here we have emerging spaghetti squash. This is a Warsaw spaghetti squash. And I did these simply because ones that I had in pots never sprouted twice. But these are going. So here we have the Tejo orange fleshed watermelon doing well. I had those last year. They are wonderful. The Kajari melon died right after the last video. I came out here and it was damped off or bitten off, and it just was laid out. We have the Moon and Stars. Also Moon and Stars, moving a little bit faster here. We can see things are alive because these marigolds are about to bloom again. The luffa, as last video with holes in it, is coming right along. Very fast compared to the melons. Here we have some sage and some bee balm by the back end of the garden with the soaker hose. A lot of these rows aren't filled in yet. A lot of them are direct sown. Let's see. Scratch for a second. It's very itchy out here. Beefsteak tomato. Also German beefsteak tomato. And you can see we had a branch here that I think the dog ran over it and it broke. So I just tucked it into the soil, and as you can see, it's been about a week and a half and it's coming back. Dill. There is okra feet here, and I think we might have some okra right there. Or two, if the okra is popping. We've got Clemson Spineless, Emerald, and Burgundy Red. So we'll come down the row, and I've direct seeded some squash here, and out of those, we have one there, and one here with only one leaf, and it may or may not live. It looks like it might actually live. Sometimes if the bug eats the terminal bud, and it's just done. But if it doesn't, you know, sometimes it'll come back. So these were the ones that we had in here last week that were very small that got hit by the hail. We've got 2 squash and 2 zucchini. We had more, and the little one just didn't make it. These should be producing pretty soon, I think. Weeds everywhere. I've been out here with the weeder. I have a really old Cobra hoe that I'm using to pull these dandelions. Anyway, so this, lots of nice fresh growth. You can see that lime green color. That's new growth. And this is the Spoon cherry tomato, and it is delicious, but they are like the size of a pea. It makes thousands of them. 2 more Brad's Atomic Grape. Some cilantro and some parsley planted together because they just kind of came up like that. So I just planted them like that. This is another German pink beefsteak. Nice and healthy, getting big. And the little cucumbers, the cucumber experiment was a success. I used some of this dead grass. This is centipede grass we have around here. And this came up from a tiller when I tilled these rows. And I used it to shield these cucumbers when they were very little, and it seems to have worked. I wasn't sure if it's going to work or not. This year is mostly experiments. But here we have the Be-It Alpha, and we have 2 of the Kitagawa Seed Company cucumbers that I'm not going to pronounce. It starts with a T. Tat something. We definitely need more marigolds. I only had a few, but I'm working on that. These are sunflowers. If you've ever wondered, you really cannot transplant a sunflower. These were transplanted and they are growing, but it's pointless. Bell peppers, looking very peppery. Eggplants are getting big. As you can see from the last video, we have lots of growth out here. And right down here, we have a nice bell pepper already. So everything's blooming. So now let's talk about the strawberries. I've been keeping these moist because it's very dry and sandy down here where I'm at. And what happened was we got 3 days of rain. I mean, heavy, hard rain, thunder and lightning. Just absolutely pouring. I mean, we probably got 6 or 8 inches of rain. I'm not really sure. And these look so beat up. They didn't have sun for a couple days, and they're just so sad. And their leaves are kind of bent looking, and I just don't know what's going on with them. I'm concerned about powdery mildew, but if you see any white stuff on here, it's probably the dust that I put on here for the ants. Well, ants and whatever else has been eating my berries. And we see some of these berries, like here's a bloom, and then here's a berry, and it looks kind of dried up and black in there. You know, and so does that one. They're not looking great. And I think it might just be too much water from that rain, and they really just need to dry out a little bit. This patch of berries is... I planted this 5 weeks ago, I think. It's been about 5 weeks. And there's definitely new growth. I mean, these came with no leaves at all. So one of the other things I like to do this time of year is just go around to the rough spots of the yard and just plant sunflower seeds. I take the rake, I scruff up a little hole in the ground to where the soil is moist, some sunflower seeds, and cover them up. Now here we have an ant problem, and I'm using the standard Home Depot ant granules, and I'll come out here and I'll sprinkle these bad boys later as per the instructions on the bag. Again, here we see that, you know, a rough area with an old rotten log and just some weeds and things growing around here. It's an area in the lawn that's kind of back towards an old burn pile. And there's a lot of dead wood here from a tree that fell a long time ago. And I just came out here with a rake and scratched it up a little bit, and I just threw in a bunch of sunflower seeds. And that was actually too many sunflower seeds, so, you know, kind of go sparingly. This is another one. You got a bare spot in your lawn. A tarp was here for a little while last summer, and the grass hasn't really recovered. It's good. It's getting in there. It's trying to. And we've got some ants here. But if you go to the bare spots in your lawn and you just scratch it up a little bit with a rake and drop some sunflower seeds in there, and in no time flat. So what I've got here is a little bit of warm tap water and a standard 325 milligram generic aspirin dissolved in there. Now, it did not dissolve completely, and I've only got a half gallon in here, and it is 1 aspirin per gallon. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pour the top of this off into the sprayer, and I'll hope that those little pieces don't jam up the tip. But like I said, this sprayer, I got this on Woot, and it was under $100, and it has issues, but it does spray. So we're going to go with it. I'm going to add this, and we're going to go to the garden and see how this thing works. Now, the aspirin is something I found on YouTube, and I had heard about it for years. And I'm going to go with it just to see if it helps the garden. But you can look that up on YouTube and see exactly what I'm doing here. You really got to shake it to get anything to come out of it. But it does spray. And this, I wouldn't say this is any easier than just using a pump-up sprayer. It was meant to be easier, but I wouldn't say it is. The shaking that you have to do here is pretty violent. Let's get these peppers real quick, and then I'll finish this up off camera. Just like that, folks. Just like that. Alright, we'll see you in a bit. So that was a quick minute and we're done. In a week or two when I make another video, we should see if there's any changes. Everything got a taste of the aspirin spray.